Hello and good afternoon. I'm Professor Francis Carlos BBS. I am the current Dean of the UP College of Human Kinetics.
Good day, everyone. I am Dr. Maria Luisa Ginto or Marisa Ginto, and I am a psychologist by profession. And I'm also a faculty member of the College of Human Kinetics, Department of Sports Science.
Okay, hello. I'm Marcus Manalo. I am a full-time faculty member at the College of Human Kinetics. I teach sports psychology and motor learning. And I'm also the Executive Director and Secretary General of the Association of Boxing Alliances in the Philippines, the National Sport Association for Boxing. I used to be the mental performance coach for the national boxing team, and I continue to work as a mental performance coach for some of our athletes and national teams as well.
When several years ago, when Dr. Michael Tan was Chancellor of the UP Diliman, he was already involved with talks with Ma'am Tess of FriendlyCare. And I think at that time, there was already a stern proposal from FriendlyCare with the University of the Philippines, Diliman, to come up with some researches under the Templeton project, if I'm not mistaken. And so when Chancellor Mike Tan said that we can involve the College of Human Kinetics here, since we can use their service PE program to elicit initial subjects for that undertaking. So that's where I came into the picture. And then shortly thereafter, ayan nga, kapag-propose na sila Ma'am Tess amin sa CHK, and we've had several meetings to strengthen the moving forward directions of the project together with the Department of Psychology of UP. And there, it became into its implementation already. But unfortunately, in its implementation stage, it was the start also of the pandemic. So we had a lot of tweaking that was taken into account. But still, I'm very happy that we were able to fully implement the project.
For me, it's really like goes back to my professional training as a psychologist. So I have been introduced with a concept and practice of mindfulness way back in college, in master's and PhD. So it was really part of what we do as psychologists. So it was a very welcome development when I joined the College of Human Kinetics, and on my first year was invited to join the workshop. It was still with the psych department of the Ateneo, and also with many of the faculty from UP, and I was the only one in the College of Human Kinetics, if you remember back then. And so that was in 2015, and then later on, it evolved, and before I knew it, I was invited already by FriendlyCare to be part of the faculty of the College of Human Kinetics to really help integrate this in our physical education class.
Yeah, for me, as a sports psychology practitioner, I was introduced with the concept during my graduate school, and then but it was only around like the past or 5 years ago when I really started to incorporate it into my approach as a sports psychology practitioner. It was a main topic in one of the sports psychology conferences that I attended around 5 years ago, and so I started to learn more about it, read more about it, and then and eventually I was able to incorporate it in in my practice. And then thankfully with the friendly care providing more depth into what we know by having to practice it actually allowed me to have a better understanding of it.
It's really very, very uh, opportune that this project came about, and that we were introduced to Ma'am Tess of Friendly Care because of all the different universities' PE programs. The PE program that UP offers to its students is really, really very special and quite unique. We're probably the university that offers the widest array of PE subjects for our students. The way PE is offered in the university is that uh, the students have uh, actually chooses their activities that they want to enroll in. Unlike in other universities where PE subjects are already predetermined and assigned to their students. And when Friendly Care and when the whole PE2 mindfulness was introduced to us as a possible option once again for another PE offering, we really jumped into it and started discussions with Ma'am Tess Panganiban of Friendly Care. Initially, as I've said, I as the dean was not that knowledgeable about the activity, but after reading some materials about it and hearing the many initial meetings that we've had, the value really that we get out of the activity of mindfulness is really, really, really beneficial for any students for that matter or any individual for that matter.
On my part, as mentioned, I met the Friendly Care team, specifically Ms. Tess Panganiban in 2015, when I think the facilitators from Canada came to the Philippines to give us that workshop. And so it was really a welcome development that it's going to be part of the school system of the university's awareness and perhaps practice, but it wasn't clear yet at that point in time how this is going to be integrated into our curriculum, specifically at the College of Human Kinetics. So when the idea of offering PE classes, and this was before the pandemic, was opened, the idea of having mindfulness as one of the PE options was provided. It was really a welcome development for me. And I appreciated this partnership even more during the pandemic because um, it really showed that it is possible to do this on the online environment, because of course all my practice, it was being done face to face. And even if I had some athlete clients who I would be seeing in the virtual environment for many years, it was just on a one-on-one basis where I could do a mindfulness with a client. But here we had the whole class, and I saw the process of how um, each of the components of the mindfulness practice were being developed throughout the semester. And so it was a different viewpoint on my part as seeing other facilitators do this and how the entire curriculum was unfolding throughout the semester, and how the students were really very positive about it, very open and engaging in the different you know um, assignments and tasks during the Zoom sessions and in between. So being able to see all of that made me appreciate how this can actually be integrated into the curriculum during a pandemic. And even if there's no more pandemic, that this could be offered with a choice of face-to-face or online is a big plus factor that Friendly Care has offered. And I really appreciate that.
I think the main hurdle really of offering PE2 mindfulness as a PE program is still to a certain extent the limitedness of being an expert mindfulness teacher in the college. I know for a fact that through the partnership also with the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and through the Friendly Care, we've strengthened additional capacity and knowledge building for several of our other lecturers here in UP. And again, like for example, Dr. Marisa and Ma'am Marcos and our other faculty who are very, very adept in sports psychology. We just can't get them regularly to be able to serve and teach the PE2 mindfulness class. And because of that, we also have limitations there. So I think in the days, weeks, and months to come, if we can have additional training, or maybe those who underwent initial training can cascade it more to our faculty, then that's one way of overcoming this little limitation. Okay, but definitely seeing the value of how fruitful and productive and positive values that are really gained by our students who enroll in PE2 mindfulness, we are trying to, as much as possible, get additional lecturers and even regular PE faculty to engage and learn PE2 mindfulness.
Yeah, not really a barrier, but more of a challenge. And I want to echo what Dean Kiko and then Ma'am Marisa mentioned about developing trainers, because we have to have a long-term approach to this. And for it to be long-term, then we have to have our own trainers. We have to develop our own trainers, right? But there are levels to it. But obviously, before you become a trainer, you have to well, undergo training and then experience it first. But before you get to experience it, then you have to first be introduced to it and be familiar with the approach. So if we look at that, then we start with increasing awareness of what mindfulness is and how it can potentially benefit everyone, teachers and students, and then develop training programs for the teachers and also the trainers. Kasi I think there should be a program also for the trainers, because at this point, again, we have we have few teachers, and maybe we need a training program to develop trainers, so we can develop more teachers or more coaches with regards to this approach.
I think while the university is trying to transition already to physical face-to-face classes, it's an opportune time for us, as mentioned earlier by both Ma'am Marisa and Sir Marcus, to also make extra efforts in ensuring that our faculty who were first trained by you really be able to teach this on a face-to-face setting. I think there's a lot that we missed also in terms of the development and the skills training that our students receive because of the online teaching platform that we use. No? And I think there's a lot more value that can be driven out by the class if it's going to be offered already on a face-to-face setting. So again, moving forward, it really just naha-highlight lang talaga yung additional training for our faculty, and in fact, Professor Marcos said that it's not just the faculty, but even to develop trainers that can aid the faculty when P2 mindfulness is offered to the students is also necessary because that completes the full content of delivering the subjects appropriately. Again, you mentioned already next that the partnership between the facilitators from Friendly Care and the supervision of some faculty from CHK is a wonderful synergy. But when all of this already are just to be delivered by the faculty, it might not be that effective as we did it in the past. So these are again, as I've said, the things that we have to hurdle, but challenges that I feel are very doable on our end.
I would agree to with a lot of the suggestions of Din Kiko. Um, Really, it's something that we can do as a university, having had this experience already with Friendly Care, both at the face-to-face and virtual environment. I think we could first look at the best or good practices on both platforms and see how this could be offered now that we are um, transitioning to the face-to-face, because I don't think that the face-to-face classes would be exactly how it was pre-pandemic. There are many things that we learned well face-to-face, and we learned well also at the virtual environment. So I think at this point, it is also good for the team, no, maybe Friendly Care, and if we are invited, to really look at the experience on both platforms.
At the level of the university, perhaps the long-term goal here will be to come up with like a center for mindfulness, something like that, right? But what could be realistic at this point, or maybe in the near future, is to make it an official extension program in the university. So, or maybe a research and extension program of the university. I think for it to continue, an institution, a department, a unit has to own the program. Like it has to be attached to a particular unit. Otherwise, you know, it's just going to be up in the air as to, okay, who should facilitate the programs, how do we develop training programs, things like that. But if it becomes an official extension program, then maybe it will have its own source of funding, and then you also have its own. We're going to have its own development programs, its own training programs, and again, as I mentioned, you know, somebody is owning the program instead of it just being, you know, just an option. If the university truly believes in the benefits of mindfulness, it can even expand to be like a community program, just like how we're trying to develop, you know, physical activity and exercise programs for the community. The same thing can be done when it comes to mindfulness. So if again, if the evidence of benefits are out there, then you know it just makes sense to develop the program and really be part and make it part of how we do things in the university or in the community. I think that the most important skill that we can learn from mindfulness-based approaches is the awareness of the present moment. And then the present moment includes, you know, the variety of thoughts and emotions that we're gonna have. And having this knowledge and understanding of how of an alternative way, I would say, of managing our thoughts and feelings will help us a lot in navigating situations in life. And as mentioned earlier, now it's becoming a bit more difficult. It's so easy to just be bombarded by unpleasant thoughts and feelings, but by being able to create that mindful space in between, stimulus and response, as we technically call it, allows us to have wiser choices and um, um, actions that are more in line about who we are and who we want to be.
Yes, that is truly relevant to this day and age. And apart from this is, of course, mindfulness also provides us a pause from this myth of multitasking as the only way and the best way to be successful or productive. That the more things you can do at the same time, um, you're really on top of the game, so to speak. So we have a whole generation that has been raised with this myth, and we know very well that doing that doesn't really make a person successful, because also research shows that there is no such thing as multitasking, only serial tasking, where our mind just focuses on one and then we just do it swiftly, one to the other. So this swift shift from one task to the other is really very dangerous to the mental health of our students. And I think mindfulness provides that space and that ability to be able to choose how to manage oneself given all of these inputs, whether in terms of data, knowledge, or even emotions and influence that is really possible in this day and age, but wasn't possible many years back. So I think it is really a primary life care tool that would benefit many of us.
Sa akin, I'm going to touch on the more simpler, supposedly effect of mindfulness in our students. No? You won't believe it, but those students who've enrolled in PE2 mindfulness pending the release of the actual research of sila Dr. Greg are actually much more emotionally stable than their probably counterparts who have not experienced PE2 mindfulness. Again, in some attempts in chatting with those students who were enrolled in my section, they were telling me that all their friends were inggit na inggit sa kanila for having enrolled in PE2 mindfulness. So that tells you already that those students who enrolled in that class were telling it and sharing it to their friends of how wonderful that activity is they have for PE. Because it changes the mindset of how we offer PE. And that's really what we highlight here. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Marisa, mindfulness is like a primary life tool. Wow, so ibig sabihin, pag sinabi mo primary, pag hindi mo nakuha ito, meron kang mami-miss out sa buhay mo later on. Hindi ba? Kasi dapat makuha mo ito dahil kinakailangan siyang sa development mo bilang isang tao. Hindi ba? So that to me is something very, very precious. No? So I really dare say that the wonderful effect of PE2 mindfulness, at least in the students who were able to enroll in this pilot research classes, was something truly beneficial for them. And to be able to expand this to more potential students in the future should be really strengthened.
Yeah, just to add, one concerning fact is that the World Health Organization they estimate that by 2030, depression will be the biggest threat to public health worldwide. By 2030, depression will be the biggest threat to public health worldwide. So that's very concerning. And
Non-communicable disease. That's
yeah,
depression.
yeah.
Wow.
And so if we can teach people to pay attention in a particular way, to accept pleasant and unpleasant inner experiences, to be in the present moment, and to commit to valued behaviors, then really making a big impact. And I feel like it's gonna be an important contribution of the program if we're able to do that.
Yeah, of course, I would like to affirm what my colleagues have said. No, like as a life skill, this is I will have to add a critical life skill. We may be developing efficient and successful UP graduates, but if we miss out on a critical life skill such as mindfulness and all the other related life skills such as emotional intelligence, regulation of our thoughts and emotions in ways that are mindful, okay, rather than controlling, and other forms of character formation, then we would have developed an empty shell among our students. And so I believe that there must really be an active discussion of this. And given the research that came with this program, I suppose we would really be able to elevate the discussion, not just on the practical side, but on the scholarly side as well. And as a university, this is something that we could really um, be actively part of, because we are not just generating knowledge in the field of mindfulness, but advocating for overall health and wellness, not just on the physical side, but on the mental health as well.
First and foremost, we'd like to thank our partners in this wonderful synergy between Friendly Care, the Department of Psych in UP, the Office of the Chancellor, for bringing in UPCHK into a very active role for this research project. We really value the relationships formed also out of this activity more than the positive experiences that all our students were able to garner because of their enrollment from this PE mindfulness subject. We really reiterate the value of mindfulness in the development of a teenager's life while in college. And we hope that other universities are able to get the same experience as we had here in UP. We've actually articulated many important facets of why mindfulness is an important and integral part of a student's development, more so in the college age years of their, these individuals. And we really just hope that these experiences can be also shared to many more students in the Philippines. So with this, I invite everyone to participate in the coming MCW conference, and then just wait for further announcements regarding this activity.
Okay, I would of course like to encourage everyone, especially if you are in the field of education and parenting, to encourage all of you, all of us, to participate actively in this MCW conference, because this is really part of what we do as educators, whether formally in the educational system or at home as parents, because education in its roots actually means an enlightening experience. It is not about subjects. It is not about all of these isolated bits and pieces of knowledge that educates a person, but the entire experience of being enlightened. What does that mean? Being enlightened about not just what's out there, but what do you have to contribute to society as well. And that really requires the development of a life skill that we call mindfulness, that we are mindful of what's inside and outside us. We are mindful not just of people around us, but of our environment, of our climate as well. And so this whole interconnectedness with people in our environment can be developed with this life skill that we call mindfulness, that engages not just individual students, but a whole community composed of teachers and staff and everyone in the university or in the school, no matter what age the child is. So I really enjoin and encourage everyone to attend, to participate in this MCW conference, and really get to learn for ourselves and multiply this life skill that we call mindfulness.
To our fellow educators, those in leadership positions, and also students, and those who are just interested in mindfulness-based approaches, I encourage you to attend the MCW conference. Um, if you want to start building a mindful culture, and there's plenty of reasons why you'd like to go into that direction with evolving research evidence pointing to the benefits of mindfulness. That's something that we can consider. And start with attending conference. We always start with curiosity, right? Maybe start reading more about mindfulness-based approaches, and then if there's an opportunity, you can also start with formal training with regards to this approach. So, but again, first, a conference, the MCW conference, will be a good first step, and then hopefully that will lead into organizations in the community being able to establish a more mindful culture.